There. Okay, today we're going to go over retouching photos. This is a review for the ACA. First, we're going to learn how to use the spot healing brush. We've got this picture of a girl that has lots of zits. So what you're going to do is you are going to come over to the tools panel and you are going to click on the spot healing brush. Now, there's a difference between the spot healing brush and the healing brush. The spot healing brush samples pixels along the outside of your the area that you have your selection around, the circle around. So if you need to change the size of that, click on your control panel and change the size. But you should get your circle right around the outside of the your zits. So another way to do this is to use the healing brush tool. So you have to go near your zit and press Alt and click, and then that what it does is if you'll move it over to the white part, you can see that it samples that small section of pixels, and then it allows you to kind of almost put a patch over the zit. It's not always the best solution, but it can work. You just have to figure out where it works best and make sure that you sampled what you want to sample. Make it look right. So sample some from the bottom, some from the top, and kind of make it blend. So that's how you use the spot healing brush. And then we're gonna go to the red eye tool. So I got two different pictures. So go File, Open, and go to your Retouch Photos. We're gonna do red eye, the very first one. And I took this picture on my cell phone, and I wasn't able to get the red eye out of my little girl's eye. So it allows you to quickly remove red eye from somebody's eye, and it samples not the pupil, but right outside the pupil, it samples the eye color, and it turns to the color that it's supposed to be. So scroll into her eye, go over. We will be working today with retouching photos purely on this tool, this section of tools, which is J. If you press Shift J, it will go through the different tools that are on that that are hidden underneath. All right, so go to the red eye tool, and you can just click in the center. You'll notice that you can change the pupil size and the darken amount, but for this picture, it works just fine to have the way it is set up. So now go to File, Open, and open up the other red eye picture, red eye 2. And I want you to scroll in. This little boy's eyes look really, really rough. So what I want you to do is go get your red eye and put it in the center of his pupil. And it didn't turn everything the color you wanted it, so let's see if we can't increase pupil size. And that did it all at once. So to increase pupil size works. Okay. Now, I want to show you something that you may not have open. You may not have open your history panel. Go to Window and open History. Window, History. Okay. When you open your history panel, you'll see over here that we have done some red eye removal stuff in your history panel. And what I want you to do is I want you to, there are two things we're going to look at. The snapshot down at the bottom of the history panel, create a new snapshot. Go ahead and create a new snapshot without the current one that you did. And then we're also going to throw everything in the trash that we did, and it turns his eyes back red. So we created a snapshot of everything we had done to this point. But now we are going to do it maybe with a pupil size much larger and see what it does. And then you can take a snapshot of that one, and you can compare snapshot 1 and snapshot 2. Snapshot 1, snapshot 2. So with snapshot 2, it kind of darkens his eyes a little bit, makes his pupil size a little bit bigger, and it's a little bit darker eyes. So you can swap between the two and see which one you like better when you use snapshots and when you use the history panel. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to use the patch tool. So go to File, Open, and click on Patch Tool. And you are going to see this church. First, we're going to take this lampstand out, and then we're going to move the church over. So the way that we're going to use the patch tool, the patch tool lets you repair a selected area with pixels from another area or pattern. The patch tool matches the texture, lighting, and shading of the sampled pictures to the source pixels, making the imperfections disappear into the surrounding image. You can also use the patch tool to clone isolated areas of an image. So, when repairing with pixels from the image, select a small area to reproduce the best results. So, what we're going to do is we're going to move this lampstand out. I need you to go to the patch tool, and that would be, click and hold down, that would be this tool. All right, so you are going to draw very closely around, you are going to draw very closely around this lampstand. And then what you do, once you have marching ants around, you're going to click and drag it to the right, and it makes it just automatically disappear. And Control D deselects. So if you can kind of still see it, you can use the stamp tool, or you could blend it or something like that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to move our church over. And what we're going to do to move our church over is we're going to use the Content Aware Move tool. So you are going to go to the same group of tools, Shift J until you get the Content Aware tool up, which is this one. And you are going to outline with, let me tell you how it works first. It's very similar to the patch tool, with the exception that dragging a selection relocates a selected part of an image to a new location. The Content Aware Move tool automatically samples from around the selection area that is to be blended together the moved content with the background and pixels. So, for instance, you need to figure out what you want to move, and then drag in the image the selected to select the area you want to move. Be sure you leave enough of a margin that edge region pixels can be suitably blended with background pixels. So what we're going to do is we're going to sample and go all the way down to the very bottom. And then we're going to just move him over. And you'll see that it's still sitting there. But once you move it, it will kind of think for a little bit. And then it will be analyzing and removing. And it replaces all these pixels in here where you moved it. It replaces it. And remember to Control D to get off of your selection. Okay. There's a little bit left down here. You can use the patch tool to just remove that. So, Control D. Patch tool, and then just pull it down. So pull it over. There you go. And now it's fixed. Okay. That's all we're going to cover for this lesson. So we will work on, I want to go back over real quickly the things that we did. We fixed blemishes with a spot healing brush and the healing brush. And the healing brush tool sampled pixels, whereas the spot healing brush automatically sampled pictures. But the healing brush gives you a little more the power to sample pixels. With the red eye, we chose to set the pupil size. We're able to do that. We set the pupil size here, but also we went to the history panel and did 2 different snapshots so that we could compare the 2 and see which one we preferred. And then the patch tool, we removed the lampstand and moved the church over. And that's all for today.